Hey, welcome to Live from Dennis's House. Today we have a special guest, Jeff Crespi, the, how should I describe you? Big shot photographer, world acclaimed photographer, rock star photographer. That's the way I'm going to do it. That's the best. Rock star photographer, Jeff Crespi.
All right.
And we are going to be spotlighting. Jeff chose this album and brought his own album. It's Howard Jones' Humans Live from 1984. This was his debut album. I was a big Howard Jones fan, as you know.
I did.
So
that's cool.
Yes, I actually liked him very much. Otherwise, I would have said no. I already did Howard Jones. Yeah,
that was the second choice.
Yeah, so we're going to start the show off right with "What Is Love" by Howard Jones, and we'll be right back. So I understand that "What Is Love" by Howard Jones is your favorite song, and you have a big story about this. Is that true?
Well, yeah, it's kind of, back in that day, music was everything to me in terms of listening. I was not a big concert guy back in my day, but music was always around me in terms of kind of getting me through those dark years, so to speak. And "What Is Love" just happened to be, would always be the song I would select on a jukebox. Wherever I was, whatever club or lounge I was. And I remember they were going to have a live band playing, and I remember a guy, the guy walking over towards the jukebox to unplug it. And I wrestled him to the ground. and I said, "You can't do that. You don't understand." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, you don't understand." I said, "This is Howard Jones. What is love?" And he's looking at me like I got two heads. And I said, "You just can't do it. It's my favorite song, and you're going to wait till the song ends before you pull the plug."
There you go. So. This is my jam. That's what you should have said, right? So that's a good story. Yeah. And then the live band was actually Howard Jones, and they met. So now we're doing the show on a different night tonight, and we're all up discombobulated because Jeff is actually covering the Green Day show tomorrow.
Wow.
Yes. Jeff, we're going to have a whole long discussion about Jeff, his photography business, but he covers over 1,000 shows a year.
Wow.
Something like that.
Is that a
Give
real
or take.
number?
Close.
No, it's not 1,000 because that would be almost impossible.
That's like 3 a day.
Yeah, right. So there's a lot of things I want to talk about. I don't even know what I want to talk about, but I've been busy myself, going crazy, covering all these shows and interviewing people and doing shows here. So, do you ever cover politics or anything? Political people?
I am so against it.
There you go. All right.
Somebody asked me if I was going to watch the debate, and I said I'd rather look at Campbell's ass. To me, it's just the most. It's ridiculous.
Exactly. Yes. There you go. Yeah. But the one interesting thing that I heard that Anthony Weiner, everybody knows who he is. He got in trouble again last night because during the debate, he was sexting Hillary Clinton during the debate. If you see her face one time, she looks down and she goes like this because he's out of control. He's got himself in big. You know hard about this story, right? And now he's texting like 15-year-old girls, and his wife left him, and she's Hillary's right-hand woman.
Right.
She's got to be out of her mind. This woman Huma. She's like, oh my God, I'm almost the second to the president, and this clown I'm married to is continually getting in trouble.
Wiener.
Exactly. There you go. That if you name Wiener, nothing good's going to come of that. Right, exactly.
Eventually.
You have no shot.
Yeah. So that's. I know what happened too. I had a little issue in the men's room again. I seem to have a lot of controversy going around in men's room, and it was the weirdest thing.
Make me nervous.
Because this guy came next to me in the men's room.
Why does that always happen?
And at the stall, and it was like he was giving birth. He was making all these horrible noises, like he was in such pain, like he was passing a stone right there and then. And I would think that if that was happening, you would go in private or maybe go to the doctor, but not come next to me. There's an entire empty bathroom, and he has to come next to me like this so he could start screaming. You know how frightening that is?
That's awesome.
All right, so that's enough nonsense for right now. So now we're going to talk to Jeff Crespi about his career in photography and everything there is to know about his life. And so I understand you were born in Brooklyn, New York.
Woo!
Yes.
Very nice. Do you know Cha-Cha? She was born in Brooklyn too, many years ago. So
All right, knock it off.
And then you emigrated to this country, and now you live in Freehold.
Yes. I've been out here about 19 years.
Oh, really? Wow, I got you beat. I'm originally from Queens, and now I've been here for 20-something years. So, does he have an accent? I didn't even notice. You?
Certain words it comes out.
Yeah. Can't hide Cha-Cha's accent. Not me.
Well,
Some people think I'm from Britain. All right, so now let's get to the photography. How did you get started in this? Is this lifetime or recently, or how did you get started?
Well, I mean, it kind of all just happened by chance. None of it was planned. None of it. I never sat down and said I'm going to be a music photographer. So everything just kind of arose from me taking my son to shows as a father-son bonding thing.
Very nice.
It was just something when my son was about 8 years old, and he pretty much just discovered my Kiss CDs in the house, especially Psycho Circus. And he was just this little kid in the backseat of the car with the big headphones on, listening to the music and singing aloud. And I just thought that maybe we should go to a concert together. At that point, I don't think I was at a live show in probably 25 years.
Wow.
So it was just as scary for me as it was for him. And just to kind of let the cat out of the bag early, I'm also a recovering alcoholic and addict with almost 27 years.
Wow.
So
Very
going
nice.
to a live concert for me was something very new and different, and wasn't sure how I was going to react. But anyway, Kiss just happened to be playing PNC Bank Arts Center that particular summer. So I chose that as a show to go with him. And, again, we didn't know how it was going to be, so we just got some lawn tickets, and we had a good time. He was a typical 7-8-year-old kid, watching the fire, the big booms, and wow, the whole wow, oh my God, and even for me, it was like I never saw Kiss, I never saw them live, listened to them all my life, but I never saw them, so I was like, wow, this is insane, this is so cool, and people are looking at us like we're crazy. There's little Kiss people walking around,
little Kiss people,
and so it was cool. So so we went home and we had a good time. So I said, okay, I'll take him to another one. It was the same summer, but I think it was Motley Crue, if I remember correctly. Motley Crue was just a little bit more, risque, and it was like, Tommy Lee came out with his, titty cam, and and there was another woman next to me with kids, and we sat next to each other on the lawn, and we saw that, we just looked at each other, and we said, that's gonna leave a mark.
Yeah.
But we,
that's a good mark.
They seemed to be having a good time,
yes.
and I was enjoying it, and I said, this could be the thing. This could be that father-son bonding thing. Yeah. And I also wanted to be a parent that was involved in whatever my child was doing. And, from my upbringing, I kind of tried to do something different. And so we went to a show here. We went to a show there. I always wanted to see something new and something different. So we just went to show after show after show. And it just became our lifestyle. It was kind of like we were trying to compete with, like, you know what? Let's try 4 shows in 4 nights. That was like an accomplishment to us. Like, it didn't matter who was playing. It didn't matter who was playing. We said, we're going to do 4 shows in 4 nights. We got up to as many as 6 shows in 6 nights. Wow. Now, remember, he's a kid getting up and going to school every night.
Wow. And your wife was okay with that?
My wife was like, whatever. He was going to school. He was doing his work.
There you go.
And I was like, this is insane. And, other parents thought we were crazy. They didn't understand it, but he became like the coolest kid on the block.
Absolutely.
And I was the coolest dad. So that became part of it. Like, his friends would wait every night till we got home to see my pictures from the show.
Wow.
Oh, so that...
And not that I was a photographer then. I was just taking pictures as a fan with a little point and shoot camera.
Right.
It was just, but the excitement of the kids knowing that me and my son were there, it was exciting to them. Mm-hmm. And so it became this big thing. I'm in a room with like a 9-10-year-old kid, watching bodies fly. And I would tell him, I would say, listen, just if anything happens, just run outside. I'll find you. Just you go.
Get down low and crawl.
It became like this crazy lifestyle, like outside of the norm. And it was great. It was so much fun and so much. There was so much about it that I just loved myself. Mm-hmm. So that just became my lifestyle. So I'm like, okay, from day one, I'm now shooting every single show that came through Starland Ballroom. I think, about 80 shows in the first 100 days.
Wow.
I was shooting For Today, A Day to Remember, Newfound Glory, Real Big Fish, Less Than Jake. I was just, this is crazy, And then I would never forget, they had a sister magazine called Hales and Horns, which handled the metal side.
Okay.
And I did a show up at a Prudential Center with Kill Switch Engage, and they published one of my pictures of Jesse in this magazine. So, I'm like 40-something years old, and I'm like a kid in a can, like waiting for this magazine to come to my house so I could see one of my pictures in print. It was the coolest moment, and I'm running around the house like a 4-year-old kid, showing everybody, and my wife and my kids are looking at me like I'm crazy. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. It's a picture that I took. And they're like, who cares? It was funny. So it was kind of like, it was all about that. And then that was it. And then the rest is kind of history. It just kept evolving into something bigger and bigger and bigger. And then when Starland Ballroom went down from Hurricane Sandy, they were renovated. They were closed for about a year.
Right.
And I was like a heroin addict, jonesing for a show. I really was. I was like, I was in the house for 2 weeks without a show. I was going bonkers. And finally, somebody had mentioned that Asbury Park was kind of a cool music place. So about 4 years ago, I guess, Scott, who owns the Saint, came over to me one time, and he says, Jeff, nobody's ever seen what you're doing. And I said, I don't understand that. I mean, there's thousands of photographers, very popular photographers in this area. He says, no, but you don't understand what you mean to the local scene, the bands that you're coming for, and shows that nobody else would show up for, and coming before doors open and staying till doors close and shooting every single band on the bill and not just the head. They said that means a lot to people, and nobody's ever seen that on the volume that you're doing it. So I thought that was really cool. And then the next year they actually created an actual top music photographer category in the awards. And
nice.
So I've won it 3 years in a row. I'm the only one that's ever won it so far.
Congratulations.
But he did tell me I'm only
Awesome.
allowed 5 wins, and then
That's it. They throw you out.
They throw you out. So I got 2 more wins to go if I can make it.
And I recently read that you were one of the, correct me if I'm wrong, I forget where it was or the exact title, but you were one of the top 25 movers and shakers in New Jersey rock scene.
Wow, a mover and a
Yeah.
Give us
kinda.
more detail about exactly what it was.
Well,
It's very impressive.
Well, basically, it was the top 25 most influential people on the music scene
That's
today.
Wow.
That's pretty awesome.
That's
Based on
very awesome.
NJ.com
Okay.
is the one that put out the list. They contacted me and told me they were putting me on the list. And I was like, I don't get it, but okay. So they kind of did some list based on different categories of people that they felt were the most influential at this moment in time.
In
Right.
the world?
No, in New
No, in
Jersey.
New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Based on the New Jersey music scene. So, yeah, that would be cool, right?
Right ahead of Don Kirshner.
I'm moving on up. But so it was really cool. Like, I'm like, this is really cool.
Yeah.
And so, he said, don't say nothing, because we're kind of still compiling the list and blah, blah, blah. And then eventually the list came out. It was an online list. And it just blew me away. I mean, I was on the list with people like Bruce Springsteen and, most of the people were, record label owners.
Right.
People like that. Only me and one other person was technically a local person, Brittany, who manages the Court Tavern.
Okay.
She was on the list as well, and myself as a photographer. So it was really cool that they put me and Brittany on that list as just kind of local people that were that were making a dent in the scene in terms of their opinion.
That's
and that
very
kind
impressive.
of and that's what it was about. I mean, that was the whole point of, like, when I was going to shows with my son early on, I would go to Battle of the Band shows, and I would sit there or stand there for 12 straight hours.
Oh my God.
Taking pictures of every band, and I didn't know any of them.
Wow.
Oh,
Either I was, either people thought I was a parent or I was a psychopath. So nobody understand why I did that. And the reason why I did that, because there was something something about going to the shows that I felt that it was my duty, so to speak, to try to help a lot of these younger bands get their name out there.
So you're not just the rock photographer, you're more like the Mother Teresa of rock photography.
Right.
So that was the whole point of everything that I did. All the photography, and it just evolved out of that. You know, I was still doing these shows with a point and shoot. They still make fun of me, by the way. It was an orange Fuji point and shoot camera. Okay, they still
do you still have that? Is that like in the New Jersey Museum somewhere?
I did so many shows, right, that these point and shoot cameras, almost a year to the date of me buying them, the flash would burn out.
Wow. That's something.
If anybody had a camera that the flash stopped working, every year almost to the date, I had to get a new camera. And I would just stick with the same format of Fuji's because they would use the same batteries and stuff.
Yeah, see, and that's the one thing that I noticed, that even just besides you being very nice, that your pictures are really great. That I love the the effects that you put on them as well, and sometimes they look like oil paintings, and it's like, wow. Because every other concert, I never give anybody credit for anything, so this is a big compliment.
So that's another point that I think makes me stand out from the rest. I don't get it. By nature, I'm not a traditional person at all in any way, shape, or form. So when it came to my pictures, I didn't care what the traditional format was. Yeah. And I find that most photographers do. Mm-hmm. So my pictures, all I care about is my pictures is being fun and entertaining. When people look at my pictures, I want them to think that show was fun. Aww. That's all I care about. I don't care what the white balance is. I don't care what I don't care about those things. It's not necessary for what I do.
Do you know all about that stuff though?
I have not a clue.
Do you use the autofocus?
I everything that I've done photography wise has been trial and error.
Okay.
I've never taken a class. I've never, watched YouTube videos. I've never read books.
Just point and click, right?
I'm an artist. I'm an artist by nature, and I just like that whole self-learning thing. I like taking stuff and seeing what I can make of it.
Like you were saying before, you do over 300 shows a year.
I literally do over 300 shows a year. Wow. I do sometimes in Asbury. I've covered as many as 6 shows in one night.
Wow.
In Asbury.
Wow, that's
and that's literally because everything's within walking distance. And I'll literally go to every venue and get all the set times. And I'll sit there and figure out which band I'm going to. And I literally just walk around a 6-block radius, hitting each band as I walk in.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool.
So now we just uncovered something very shocking here, that Jeff actually covered the Culture Club concert recently, right, at Count Basie?
Yes, Count Basie.
So tell us about that and your love for Culture Club.
Well, I'm a huge Culture Club fan. I mean, from day one. I even have some of their books that I've read. But
wow,
I just the 80s is my era musically.
Yeah, I was wondering because if you picked this,
I'm extremely intrigued by.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the era for me in terms of fashion and music. And so Culture Club's always been a favorite of mine. They were playing the Wellmont Theater not too long ago, but I wasn't able to make it. I covered the Gin Blossoms that night instead. So when I saw they were playing Count Basie, I made it a point to try to cover that show, and it kind of worked out. But I'm standing against the stage, taking pictures, and Boy George is just a very intriguing person to me.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. Yeah.
And I don't know what it is singly, but it's just everything about him, from his demeanor to the fashion. And I was taking pictures, but I'm looking down because, the stage is high up. So I'm kind of just a little above the stage. So I'm kind of almost like eye level at his lower. But I'm a sneaker guy. So I'm kind of, all I wanted to do was take his sneakers. Like they were the coolest sneakers I ever saw in my life. All I kept thinking was, I want those sneakers.
That would be nice. Like, Boy George sneakers. Yeah.
So I'm like, for a minute, like I didn't even realize it, but I'm just taking pictures of the sneakers.
Oh my God.
So I don't know what people thought I was doing, but Culture Club is just one of my all-time favorites.
Let's talk a little about Howard Jones and this album, and talk about all the 80s and your favorite bands of that time and all this kind of stuff, because I don't really know that much about this guy Howard Jones. Normally I know everything, so I took a little notes here. But he's from Britain. Did you know that? Yes. Do you know a lot about him?
I don't know a lot about him, but
tell me what you know about him in this album.
My wife and I, 3 years in a row, years ago, went to go see him in New York City. He would play this little theater every year around the same time over somewhere by Park Avenue South. And we would sit in this little theater that was, I don't know how many people held. I'll say about 300 maybe. And it was a very intimate storyteller type show with him and just his a guitar player. And it was kind of like a VH1 storyteller type of a show. It told little stories. So, you learn a little about the artists from, their family life and stuff like that. So I know a little, but, music to me was music. I'm not a lyrics guy. I'm a music guy. Mm-hmm. Either I like it or I don't. Mm-hmm. The words doesn't mean much to me personally, as it might mean to somebody else or the artist, but the beat of the music is what moves me. So I'm strictly about that. So Howard Jones, I loved the whole 80s era musically because of the synthesizer.
He was a big...
I just loved that. The fashion, the look just was so intriguing to me because I didn't have the balls to look like that.
So let me ask you, there's no pictures of Jeff Crespi with the flock of seagulls haircut out there?
There's some weird stuff, but not on that level.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I'm colorblind.
Me too.
What I used to wear back in that day was atrocious. Till this day, my wife makes fun of me.
I make fun of you all the time.
I'm the type of guy that believes every blue goes together, every green goes together. When she would say that doesn't match, how is that possible? They're both blue. That makes no sense.
Just because there's stripes and polka dots.
So I used to wear very busy stuff. It was you never knew what you were
going to and this album though, did you know this? He was from UK, and this was #1 for 57 weeks on the charts, and he was actually one of my favorites of the '80s too. I just loved his sound, and there was so many hit songs off of that, "What Is Love" reached #2, "New Song" #3, "Hide and Seek," "Pearl in the Shell," and then he had songs after that, and careers after that. "What Is Love," "New Song," "Hide and Seek," "Pearl in the Shell," "No One Is to Blame," "Things Can Only Get Better," "Everlasting Love," "Life in One Day," "Like to Get to Know You Well."
Yeah, it doesn't
See?
end.
That's a lot of hits.
Yeah. I know.
And a lot of those songs, people are saying, well, I don't know that. But if you put that song 100%. On, you definitely know it.
Right.
And they're all catchy.
I just a few months ago had the pleasure of photographing him as well.
Oh, he was at House of Independence, right? You checked that out?
Oh, yeah.
Did you get to talk to him and tell him your story?
I didn't get to talk to him. He, I kind of left a little early. A lot of the bands that come through there, I'm friends with the venue. I shoot for the venue.
Right.
So I try to kind of make that happen as much, but it doesn't always work out that way because of the artists. But
right.
So no,
some of them are divas.
Yeah,
and
some of them I try to take outside to do photo shoots with, or some of them take pictures backstage. It depends on.
Right. Yeah, I saw that too. I noticed that you do that. You're doing portraits, not just live photography. Then you get the bands together and a whole bunch.
I think it's cool to get that one-off shot if you can.
Yeah, definitely. So that's good stuff, man.
Why did you take that back?
Because I need to hold it, because we're about to smell it now. Okay. Jeff, this is part of the show. This is what we do. We smell this to bring us back. That's the one thing that takes us right back to 1984. See, you keep your records in pretty good shape, because that one doesn't really smell that good.
Oh, no.
So we're going to name our favorite Howard Jones song. I'm going to have to go with What Is Love. So, yeah, take a smell of that. Hey, Nick, hand me a smelly album so I can show Jeff. Now, right here, on that pile right there, there's one. Get that top one. That's going to smell. There you go.
Don't try to kill Jeff.
See, now this one.
I probably still got some that have the weed smell.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is nice.
Check that out.
So clean.
Oh, yeah.
See, that brings you back.
Yeah. All right, I don't even want to touch it.
All right, so now we're going to talk about what shows were your favorite to cover.
Wow.
So we can start recently.
Okay.
Did you do that Willie Nelson? Did you like that one?
I was only one of 2 photographers allowed to take pictures of Willie Nelson.
Wow.
And the only reason why I was allowed to, because I was actually doing it for the Stone Pony. This summer, I was actually hired by the Stone Pony to do all the summer stage outside shows.
Cool.
Wow.
So that was an awesome experience for me, and one of those things that shows you that hard work does pay off.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to do that, and I hope it continues. for summers to come. But we'll tackle that when that comes. But I mean, it's so hard to pick shows because my wife will tell you, I would come home and every night she would say, "How was the show?" And I would say, "Great." She'd go 6 billion shows and never ever saw a bad show.
Really? Wow.
And people can't understand that. And I think the reason is because, again, it's not just about the music for me.
It's about the people.
So
and the
there's always
emotions.
something that I could take away from that show, whether it be the music, whether it be the people, somebody I might have met that night. I could talk to a person at a show all night long and never care what their name is. I could care less. Because I could walk out of that show, never saw that person again, but have a great time having that conversation.
Wow.
And I love that about the shows. That's what the shows became for me. Not just music, but I'm part of the show.
Yeah.
I'm there to be part of the show. Taking the pictures is just one aspect of it to document what I'm doing. But I want to be in there. I want to know what makes you tick. I want to know why you're wearing what you're wearing. I want to know, what makes you do what you do, and why are you at this show? What is it about the band that you like about that? Because I never heard of the band, so you tell me why you like this band.
Wow, awesome.
So stuff like that.
It's human interest.
Yeah, so now let me ask you 2 final questions here. Number 1, have you ever come across a band that you photographed that was a big bunch of jerks and you said, "I hate these guys, I'm never photographing them again"?
I no.
All right.
But what I did realize early on is that not everybody is who they seem to be on stage.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
that was something I noticed.
And I feel that, these people have been doing it for so long, a lot of them, they become jaded and they've done it a million times. It's like not fresh to them anymore, So it's just like being bothered.
And I get it. And I get it.
yeah.
So, and then the final question is, in your wildest dreams, your dream concert to photograph, what would it be?
You're going to laugh. So
not Howard Jones. You already did
the very first show that I ever took my son to was Kiss.
There you go.
Well, I've never photographed Kiss.
Well, no, I'm not going to laugh. That would be awesome. Yeah. So, all right. Well, we're way over time here. I want to thank Jeff for being a great guest. And it was actually very relaxing. I didn't have to do that much talking at all. I like that. Yeah. I want you to come on more often, Jeff. So check out Jeff. Any concert in the New Jersey area? Do you go out of New Jersey? You cover shows?
I'm not as much. I used to go into the city every now and then, but there's just so much here I don't need to.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're at any of these arenas, look up front. Any of these Stone Pony, anything like that, look up front, and there you'll see Jeff. So, that's about it. You got any last words?
No.
So, thanks for joining us here on Live from Dennis's House. So, first, make sure you check out JeffCrespiRocks.com. And you have anything else that you want to plug before we wrap this up?
Jeff Crespi Rocks on every social media platform.
There you go. Nice. And you'll find it. Check out his pictures. You'll see they're really good.
Yeah.
So, thanks for joining us here on Live from Dennis's House, only on 474 The Mix, where the music matters. See you next week. We'll be doing another classic album and Behaving Badly. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, DennisMorgello.com. Watch me on the radio, hear me on TV and all social media, and MadhouseMagazine.com.